I am 7 months pregnant. I am married to a family medicine doctor, and we've been together for 10 years. I'm reaching out to all of you to ask for your advice on a fight my husband and I are having about our birth plan. My husband really wants to deliver the baby, which I can kind of understand. It's not uncommon for doctors to deliver their own child. There is still an OB/GYN there monitoring everything, and the doctor father steps in at the last minute as mom is crowning to catch the baby. My husband has always dreamed of being the one to pull the baby out, while I pictured it very differently. I thought he would be by my head, holding my hand and helping me through it. He says he will do that, but the easiest part is the very end where I won't need him anyway. He said if I really want someone there, his mom can step in. I've been on my own since I was a kid, living in my car, so I don't have anyone I'd want in there with me except him. I don't really even want his mom in there. She's great, but he's my person. I know it would be cool for him to deliver our baby, but I really feel like I need him there. I personally didn't want our doctors to know he was a doctor because as soon as any of my doctors, or even our vet, find out he's a doctor, they talk exclusively to him. I don't even want him to go to the prenatal appointments anymore because no one talks to me. They all talk to him, and I can't ask my questions to anyone but my husband at home. But he's already told everyone he'll be delivering our first baby. I guess I don't want this because I wanted him to be there as a husband and a father, not a doctor. I see him as a doctor 95% of the time, and I wanted to experience this with my husband, not my husband the doctor. I wanted him to be there for me as this is my first birth and I'm terrified. He just keeps telling me I'll be fine. He involved friends and family who also don't understand my point of view. They said this is his first child too, and to just let him have this since I had the honor of being pregnant. I just really wanted him to hold my hand all the way through it and be able to share this experience as parents and people instead of a medical professional. I was hoping we could see the baby at the same time and just be equals in this. Am I being selfish for wanting it to be my way? Now for an update. I am going to confront him tonight when he gets home. He's already going to be upset because we both have restrictions on how much time we spend on social media sites, and I have significantly surpassed that today and yesterday, which he'll know as soon as he reviews the router logs. I'm hopeful I can catch him before that makes him too upset. I did reach out to some of our mutual friends just to see what he has told them for why this is so important to him, only to learn he never discussed this with them. I think he made up what he has been saying, they said. They were really shocked to learn we've been having this disagreement and were actually quite supportive of an expectant mother controlling her birth plan. I'm quite nervous about his reaction to this as well, and I'd like to get ahead of this. Wish me luck and cross your fingers for me. Second and final update. Hello all, I first want to say thank you. Thank you every single one of you who took the time to reply, send messages, check up on me, and share your stories. I've read so much more than I'll ever be able to respond to. Thank you. Those who took the time to share resources and volunteer your own time, you are angels in the flesh. Thank you. I'm so incredibly touched by this overwhelming outpour of love and support. Also, thank you to even the people who told me I was selfish or crazy, or any other derogative term you chose to use. I'm not sure what helped me more. The people posing such great questions about if I felt safe, comfortable, loved, or the people telling me I was the terrible person. Something about attempting to reread my story as an outsider and seeing the comments where Redditors told me I was, in fact, the problem broke something in me, and I finally saw through the haze. But hey, maybe try to be nicer to strangers on the internet and consider your words more carefully. We're all people trying to get through life. So many of you are kind, caring, and loving individuals. Thank you for caring about some random person on the internet. I don't even have words. I can't say a whole lot about these last few days. So much has happened that I will be processing for years to come. All I can say is I am safe and I am free. Interpret that as you will. My next steps involve leaving this chapter of my life behind. I'm moving out of this city, and I'm going to try starting again somewhere new. Somewhere beautiful where every time I look outside, it's hard to believe it's real life. I've always felt drawn to the mountains with all of their beauty and might. I don't plan to ever log into this account or even Reddit ever again. I did the same thing at 16, and I'm hopeful these last few decades have set me up for more success than I had the first time when chasing a new start. If you read my story and you relate to it in any way, or if you too feel smothered, voiceless, and alone every single day, locked in the house with someone who is supposed to love you. I just want you to know what I now know. That isn't normal. That isn't what life is supposed to be. There are people you can rely on, and strangers can be your best friend. The cost may be steep, but the cost to stay is so much more. Farm this post for all the comments and support available. I pass it on to you and beg you to use whatever resources you can find. The sheer volume of personal messages I received from people in the same boat, people sharing support, people checking in to make sure I was okay. There's such a community here, and they will help you before you even realize you need it. I'm not sure what's next, and that's terrifying, but also refreshing. I haven't had that in so many years. Thank you. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot. This isn't about him. This is your birth plan. His job is to be your husband and partner, not doctor, and his fantasy of delivering the baby is beyond selfish. You want him at your head only, holding your hand. Everyone knows busting through the ring of fire and tearing your female genitalia hole, popping out the baby head is the absolute worst part. He should be ashamed and embarrassed to not be properly putting you ahead of that. Tell him how it's gonna be, and if he doesn't like it, he can freaking wait in the hall, period. Comment 2. Your sister-in-law reports back to your husband? Your husband reviews router history to monitor your internet usage? Girl, I think you have bigger problems than your husband being an inconsiderate partner during your life-threatening medical event. Your marriage smells hurtful. For what it's worth, labor and delivery is 100,000% about the person risking their life to bring a child into the world. Your husband's sole job during your labor is to do exactly what you want him to do. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking with me through all of this. So, after my last update, things took a turn I didn't quite expect. When my husband came home that night, I confronted him about everything. I told him how I felt about him delivering the baby, how I needed him by my side, and how isolated I felt when everyone talked to him instead of me. He was quiet for a long time, just listening, which was a bit unnerving because he's usually quick to respond. Then he said something that caught me off guard. He admitted that he had been feeling a lot of pressure from his colleagues and family to be the one to deliver our baby. He said he felt like he had to prove something, not just to them, but to himself. He wanted to show that he could balance being a doctor and a father, and that he could handle the responsibility. It was the first time he had opened up about his own insecurities, and it made me see things from his perspective a bit more. But I also made it clear that his need to prove himself shouldn't come at the expense of my comfort and our experience as a couple. We had a long, emotional conversation, and by the end of it, he agreed to step back and let the OBGYN handle the delivery. He promised to be by my side, holding my hand, just like I wanted. The next few days were a bit tense. We were both trying to navigate this new understanding, and it wasn't easy. I could tell he was struggling with his decision, and I was trying to be supportive while also dealing with my own anxieties about the birth. We had a few more arguments, mostly about small things that seemed to blow up because of the underlying stress. Then something unexpected happened. My husband got a call from his mother, who had heard about our disagreement. She wanted to come over and talk to us. I was hesitant at first, but I agreed. When she arrived, she sat us down and shared a story from her own past that neither of us had heard before. She told us about how, when she was pregnant with my husband, she had a similar situation with her own husband. He was a surgeon and wanted to be involved in the delivery, but she wanted him by her side. They had a huge fight about it, and it took a toll on their relationship. She said that looking back, she wished they had communicated better and found a compromise that worked for both of them. Her story hit home for both of us. It made us realize that we weren't the first couple to go through this, and that we needed to find a way to support each other. It also brought up some old feelings for my husband about his relationship with his father, which he had never really dealt with. He opened up to me about how he always felt like he had to live up to his father's expectations, and how that pressure had influenced his decision to deliver our baby. This revelation was a turning point for us. It helped me understand why he was so insistent on being involved in the delivery, and it helped him see why I needed him by my side. We started working together to find a balance that worked for both of us. He agreed to be by my side during the delivery, but we also decided that he would be involved in other ways, like helping with the prenatal appointments and being more present during the pregnancy. The fallout from this whole situation was significant. It brought up a lot of unresolved issues in our relationship, but it also gave us a chance to address them. We started going to couples therapy, which has been incredibly helpful. It's given us a space to talk about our feelings and work through our issues in a constructive way. One of the things that came up in therapy was my husband's need for control. He admitted that he often felt like he had to be in control of everything, and that it was hard for him to let go and trust others. This was something that had affected our relationship in other ways too, like how he always took charge of our finances and made decisions without consulting me. It was a tough realization for him, but it was also a necessary one. For me, therapy helped me understand my own feelings of isolation and why I had such a strong reaction to the idea of him delivering the baby. It brought up memories of my childhood, of feeling alone and having to fend for myself. It made me realize that I had been carrying those feelings into my adult life and that I needed to work on letting go of them. As we worked through these issues, we started to see changes in our relationship. We became more open with each other, more willing to listen and understand. It wasn't easy, and we still had our moments of tension, but we were making progress. One day, while we were talking about our childhoods, my husband shared a story that really stuck with me. He told me about a time when he was a kid and his father took him to a medical conference. He was so excited to be there, to see his dad in action, but his father barely acknowledged him. He spent the whole time talking to his colleagues, and my husband felt invisible. That experience had a profound impact on him, and it made me realize how much he had been carrying that need for validation into our relationship. Hearing that story made me see him in a new light. It made me understand why he was so driven, why he felt the need to prove himself. It also made me realize that we both had our own baggage, our own insecurities, and that we needed to support each other in working through them. As we got closer to the due date, we started to feel more connected. We were both nervous, but we were also excited. We had found a way to navigate this challenge together, and it made us stronger as a couple. Thank you for reading. Am I the idiot for telling my boyfriend his harmless pranks are just plain creepy? My boyfriend, 28-year-old male, and I, 24-year-old female, have been together for a year and a half. I love him a lot, and he has been pretty amazing to me. He is also the sort of person who has lots of friends, and his close friends are pretty much family. He also loves to joke and play these harmless pranks on his friends, which sometimes makes me feel weird. Just for context, he has 2 female friends and 3 male friends. This is about my boyfriend and one of his friends, Claire, 28-year-old female. Claire is a nice woman and we are friendly. My boyfriend also has never ignored me in favor of his friends or talked over me in front of them, which is why I don't understand if I'm in the right. They, my boyfriend's friends, had a recently escalated prank fight. I had made it clear to my boyfriend that I am not good at jokes and am rather stiff, and he said he would keep me out of it. Claire, my boyfriend, and another friend, Kyle, 27-year-old male, even had a huge throwing water balloons fight in Kyle's backyard. Then my boyfriend got pranked with dye in his body wash. Then Kyle got pranked by Claire, something about whipping cream and oven mitts. But the issue was when my boyfriend brought a red lacy lingerie set, and he planned to put it in Claire's room the next time when he went over. I said it was a tacky prank, and why would he buy lingerie? None of the previous pranks have been of this kind, and it makes me really uncomfortable. I also felt like if I was Claire, I would feel gross about it. But my boyfriend got mad and defensive and told me Claire is cool like that, and she would think it's funny. I admit I get a bit weirded out when he calls Claire extremely beautiful and jokes about how she was always been way out of his league. But I thought it was nothing, and they were like family, so I guess it was their thing. However, the lingerie prank had me put my foot down, and I said that he was wrong to give another woman lingerie, no matter who, when he had a girlfriend. We fought, and I said I wanted to break up, which he didn't want to, and I said that I was just overreacting. He said that I was too conservative and needed to open my mind when he had never given me a reason to be insecure. Claire called me and said that she and my boyfriend have been friends for a long time, and inside jokes are just that, and I'll learn with more age. I still feel weird about this. My best friend is supportive of me no matter what I do, but I have started to feel like I'm blowing this out of proportion. My boyfriend says that the fact that he told me and didn't hide it from me shows that I'm the problem. I have started to feel like I've blown this out of proportion, and maybe it's my fault I can't take a joke. I really feel awful about this whole thing. Am I the idiot? To add, the people asking what the prank is with the lingerie? Apparently, it's an inside joke about how during their college days, she had some problems with the color red, and the lingerie would have just given her a shock of some kind, I guess? I told my boyfriend it was cruel, but he said it wasn't a trauma thing, just an inside joke. Claire also said over the phone that the lingerie thing was just an inside joke of their college days. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Claire called me and said that she and my boyfriend have been friends for a long time, and inside jokes are just that, and I'll learn with more age. 1. Your boyfriend relayed your concerns with him to his friend. Did you agree to this? Or did he betray your confidence? 2. Claire is very condescending. It's clear she doesn't hold you or expect you to hold yourself in equal standing to your partner. Comment 2. Admit I get a bit weirded out when he calls Claire extremely beautiful and jokes about how she was always way out of his league. The bolded part is pretty dodgy. Also, at 28, these endless pranks are pretty childish. What a cheek to patronize you. Not the idiot, I'd be moving on personally. Meet a man, not a silly little boy who seems to be in lust with his friend. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking around. So, a lot has happened in the past 2 weeks, and I need to get it all off my chest. After our big fight about the lingerie prank, my boyfriend and I decided to take a break to cool off. I stayed at my best friend's place for a few days to clear my head. During this time, I kept thinking about whether I was really overreacting or if my feelings were valid. My best friend was supportive, but I could tell she was getting tired of hearing me go back and forth about it. One evening, while I was at my best friend's place, I got a call from Kyle. He said he wanted to talk to me about something important. I was hesitant at first, but I agreed to meet him at a nearby coffee shop. When we met, Kyle seemed really serious, which was unusual for him. He told me that he had been thinking about the whole prank situation and felt that it had gone too far. He admitted that he had been uncomfortable with the lingerie prank idea, but didn't say anything because he didn't want to be the buzzkill of the group. Kyle also revealed that Claire had been acting differently lately. She had been more distant and seemed to be avoiding him and the rest of their friends. He thought it might have something to do with the prank war escalating and the lingerie prank being the tipping point. This made me feel a bit better, knowing that I wasn't the only one who thought the prank was inappropriate. Feeling somewhat validated, I decided to talk to my boyfriend again. I went back to our apartment and found him sitting on the couch looking miserable. We had a long, emotional conversation about everything that had happened. He apologized for getting defensive and admitted that he didn't realize how much the prank had upset me. He said he never meant to hurt me and that he just got caught up in the excitement of the prank war. We decided to give our relationship another shot, but with some ground rules. We agreed that he would be more mindful of my feelings and that I would try to be more open-minded about his sense of humor. Things seemed to be getting back on track, but then something unexpected happened. A few days later, Claire called me again. This time, she sounded upset and asked if we could meet in person. I agreed, and we met at a park near her place. Claire confessed that she had been feeling really uncomfortable with the prank war, and that the lingerie prank had crossed a line for her too. She said that she didn't want to admit it before because she didn't want to seem like she couldn't take a joke. Claire also told me that she had been dealing with some personal issues that she hadn't shared with anyone, not even my boyfriend. She had recently gone through a tough breakup and was struggling with her self-esteem. The lingerie prank had hit a nerve because it made her feel objectified and disrespected. Hearing this made me realize that my feelings were valid and that I wasn't just being overly sensitive. I decided to share this with my boyfriend, hoping it would help him understand why the prank was such a big deal. When I told him, he was shocked and felt terrible for not considering Claire's feelings. He apologized to her and promised to be more considerate in the future. This brought some closure to the whole prank situation, but it also opened up a new can of worms. During our conversation, Claire mentioned something that caught my attention. She said that my boyfriend had been acting differently around her lately, almost like he was trying to impress her. This made me feel uneasy, and I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more going on. I decided to dig a little deeper and talk to Kyle again. Kyle admitted that he had noticed the same thing and that he had been worried about it too. He said that my boyfriend had always had a bit of a crush on Claire, but he never acted on it because they were just friends. This revelation hit me like a ton of bricks. I started to question everything about our relationship and whether my boyfriend's feelings for Claire were more than just friendly. I confronted my boyfriend about this, and he denied having any romantic feelings for Claire. He said that he loved me and that Claire was just a friend. But I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something he wasn't telling me. I decided to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I couldn't help but feel insecure and anxious about our relationship. As the days went by, I noticed that my boyfriend was making more of an effort to be considerate and attentive. He stopped participating in the prank war and focused on spending quality time with me. This made me feel better, but I still had lingering doubts about his feelings for Claire. One evening, while we were having dinner, my boyfriend opened up about his past. He told me about his college days and how he had always been the funny guy in his group of friends. He said that he used humor as a way to cope with his insecurities, and that he never meant to hurt anyone with his pranks. This made me see him in a different light and helped me understand why he acted the way he did. He also shared a story about his childhood that gave me more insight into his behavior. He grew up in a household where his parents were always fighting, and he used humor as a way to diffuse tension and make everyone feel better. This made me realize that his pranks were a way for him to connect with his friends and create a sense of camaraderie. Despite this newfound understanding, I still couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more going on between him and Claire. I decided to talk to Claire again and see if she could shed some light on the situation. When we met, she assured me that there was nothing romantic between her and my boyfriend, and that she valued our friendship. This brought some relief, but I knew that I needed to work on my own insecurities and trust issues. I decided to start seeing a therapist to help me navigate my feelings and build a stronger foundation for my relationship. My boyfriend was supportive of this decision and even offered to attend some sessions with me. As we continue to work on our relationship, I can't help but feel hopeful for the future. We've both learned a lot from this experience, and I believe that it has brought us closer together. Thank you for reading. Am I the idiot for refusing to attend my sister's wedding after she tried to exclude my disabled wife? So I'm 22-year-old male, my wife is 21-year-old female. We have been together since childhood and have been dating since I was 17. The problem is she met with an accident when she was 11 and has been unable to walk since. We are working on her mobility, but the progress hasn't been promising. We got married 8 months ago and our families and friends joined us for the celebration. However, my family criticized me for marrying at such a young age and rushing into it. I have 2 older brothers who are 2 years apart and 1 older sister who is 4 years older than me. They attended my wedding and I thought they accepted my wife. But a few days ago, we had a family dinner because my eldest sister was getting married. Everything was going well during the dinner. We joked around, drank, ate, and danced. My wife got sleepy, so I took her upstairs to put her to sleep. She can't handle alcohol at all. I came back downstairs, and out of nowhere, my sister said that she would prefer if my wife didn't attend her wedding. At first, I thought she was joking and laughed it off, but she insisted that she was serious. I asked her why, and she simply said she wanted me to be beside her instead of carrying my wife around. I was shocked and replied, "What? She's not a burden. She's family." I told her that my wife is accepted and loved by me, and she shouldn't be excluded. However, my sister argued that I would be too focused on my wife instead of being with her during her wedding. According to her, it's only reasonable for a brother to always be present for his sister's wedding. In response, I assured her that I would always be there for her and she shouldn't worry about my wife. Just then, my brothers joined the conversation. They stated that I had already done enough for my wife, and it was time for me to prioritize my sister. They even suggested that I should have married another woman who wouldn't be a burden. I looked at my dad for support, but he gestured for me to calm down. Unfortunately, my mother chimed in as well and agreed with my siblings. She said that my wife shouldn't attend the wedding because it would distract me from my sister and the wedding preparations. I couldn't hold back my frustration any longer. Hearing all these hurtful comments, I became sober and boldly declared that if my wife wasn't invited, then I wouldn't attend either. I announced that I was leaving. As I went upstairs to wake up my wife and prepare to leave, my family tried to stop me, claiming that I was being unreasonable. I made it clear that I wasn't in the mood to discuss further and warned them against saying anything offensive. I stated that if I heard another offensive word, I would take action that we would all regret. Without any hesitation, I took my wife and returned home. She asked why we left, and I fabricated an excuse about having urgent work in the morning. She believed it, but my family continues to accuse me of overreacting and threatening them. So, am I the jerk for reacting the way I did? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. It's only reasonable that a brother should always be with her sister during her wedding. WTF. Where is her husband, the man she just married exactly? My mother joined as well and told me that my siblings are right. My wife shouldn't join the wedding because I won't pay attention to my siblings and the wedding. Why does OP need to pay so much attention to a wedding? He's not the one getting married, right? Not the idiot. Hold firm, OP. Continue to support and love your wife. Your family is weird. SMDH. Comment 2. Not the idiot. So what? Your sister expects you to be by her side the whole wedding? That's weird. And why is she singling you out? You have 2 other brothers who can be by her side. And honestly, the only person who should be by her side is her soon-to-be husband. Your family are AHs, and I would consider going LC to no contact if they continue to disrespect your wife. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, a lot has happened since my last post. After that dinner, things got even more complicated. The next day, my sister called me, trying to smooth things over. She apologized for her comments and said she didn't mean to hurt anyone, but I could tell she was just trying to keep the peace before her wedding. I told her that I appreciated the apology, but that it didn't change how I felt. My wife is my priority, and if she's not welcome, then neither am I. A couple of days later, my mom showed up at our apartment unannounced. She brought some homemade food, which was her way of trying to make amends. We sat down, and she started talking about how she just wanted the family to be happy and united. She said she was worried about me and thought I was taking on too much responsibility at a young age. I told her that I understood her concerns, but that my wife and I were a team. We support each other, and that's how it's going to be. My mom then dropped a surprise. She said that my sister was considering uninviting me from the wedding altogether if I insisted on bringing my wife. This was a huge escalation, and it forced me to make a hard choice. I could either stand by my wife and miss my sister's wedding, or I could go to the wedding without my wife and betray her trust. I felt like I was being torn apart. I decided to talk to my wife about everything. I couldn't keep lying to her. When I told her what had been going on, she was visibly hurt but tried to put on a brave face. She said she didn't want to come between me and my family, and that she would understand if I went to the wedding without her. But I knew that wasn't the right thing to do. I couldn't leave her behind. The next day, I called my sister and told her that I wouldn't be attending the wedding if my wife wasn't welcome. She got really upset and accused me of ruining her big day. She said some pretty harsh things, and I ended up hanging up on her. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. In the days that followed, the fallout was intense. My brothers both called me, trying to convince me to change my mind. They said I was being stubborn, and that I needed to think about the family. My dad even sent me a long email outlining all the reasons why I should go to the wedding. But I stood my ground. I knew that if I gave in, it would set a precedent for how my wife would be treated in the future. During this time, my wife and I had a lot of deep conversations. We talked about our future and how we wanted to handle situations like this. We both agreed that our relationship came first, no matter what. It brought us even closer together, and I felt more determined than ever to support her. Then something unexpected happened. My sister showed up at our apartment. She was in tears and apologized for everything. She said she had been under a lot of stress and took it out on us. She admitted that she was wrong and that she wanted us both at her wedding. It was a huge relief, and I could see that she was sincere. We hugged it out, and I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. My wife and I attended the wedding together, and it was a beautiful day. My sister even made a point to include my wife in the festivities, which meant a lot to both of us. Looking back, I realized that my family's reaction was rooted in their own fears and insecurities. They were worried about me and didn't know how to express it. But by standing my ground, I showed them that my wife and I are a team and that we can handle anything together. Thanks for reading. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.